In a world of challenges and uncertainties, hope shines as a beacon, guiding us through the dark times and showing us the way to brighter days ahead. But what exactly is hope? Where does it come from? And how does it shape our lives? I'm Annie Bennett, and I'd love you to join me on this journey as I explore the meaning of hope. I'll delve into philosophical perspectives, personal stories, and scientific insights to understand the power of this elusive emotion. So whether you're seeking inspiration, comfort, or simply a deeper understanding of the human spirit, let's embark on this exploration together and discover the extraordinary power of hope. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. Oh, I've got a very interesting guest today. I first met this lady, last year sometime, I think. And chatting to her, I'm just really interested with the work that she does. Catherine Grout is a personal stylist and colour consultant, and I'm really looking forward to finding out how she got going with it and about what she does. So, welcome, Catherine, to our podcast.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Fabulous. Oh, it's so lovely to have you here. And the couple of times that we have met up, um, I've been really interested about what it is you do and how you do it. So, can you please just first of all tell us how you got into doing what you do? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Absolutely, yes. So I've had a career pivot or change or whatever it is actually quite
Mhm.
relatively late in life.
Uh-huh.
I'm 57 now, and I think I was actually just in my very early 50s when I was made redundant from the career that I'd had for really a very long time. I
Mhm.
worked in technology innovation. I supported students in education. So it was a nice job, but it came to an end, and I was left thinking, what now? And at the time, we'd just gone into COVID. I also had a lot going on in my personal life as well, which meant I had to give a lot of support to my children at the time. And so I was really at the point when I thought, actually, can I have a new career? Is this even possible? But what began to emerge for me as a really strong strand was working in fashion.
Mhm.
I'd always loved fashion. It had already been a big kind of theme in my life. The joy of going out there, feeling good in your clothes,
Mm.
that just feeling for color and style and all that had always been there. So I decided to set up a fashion blog. And I thought, oh, this is nice. I'm going to be able to really enjoy sharing content. But what it wasn't at that point was a business.
Right.
So having been made redundant, having an income and having that identity as a professional was something really important to me for, to be able to support my family, but also for myself.
Yeah.
So I had a big think about what I was going to do. And I looked around and thought, well, how can I actually make this fashion into a business? And also, I'm not that inclined to, for example, become an influencer because there are quite a lot of midlife women out there who make that a real success for them. But for me, that fit didn't feel quite right.
Mm.
What I wanted to do was to bring my sort of skills, knowledge, instincts to bear to actually help other people feel
Yeah.
good about themselves and their appearance. So I found the ideal thing. I found personal styling and I retrained as a personal stylist and then very soon after as a color analyst. Um, and to be honest, it's one of these moments in life when you're like, I'm not going to dither around with this. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to start my business. I went through a kind of I guess, a business startup process as well as part of the training.
Yeah.
So because I'd obviously had a fairly long career in other areas, there was a lot of stuff I knew. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know as well.
Yeah.
But I did know that this was a make or break kind of moment in my life, and I needed to take this opportunity. So I went through, I launched the business, set up the website, did all that bit. And because I'm relatively techie, that was good because it
Yeah.
gave me that foundation in all that stuff. I'm not scared of technology. Um, so I went through, launched the business. One of my happiest days is when I took my first paying client on. And at that
Yes.
point I was like, actually, this might work. This
Yeah.
might be okay. This new venture I've got in my mind might
Yeah.
actually take off. And it did.
Yeah.
And I'm now just in the third year of my business. And I have worked with a fair number of people now. And I've done a
Uh-huh.
lot of consultations. And I feel like I've helped quite a lot of people. And that's a really wonderful feeling.
It's
Um,
wonderful. Just what a wonderful story. And we've got,
our lives are very parallel, Catherine. I don't know if you realise this,
Mm.
but I was in a 30-year career and came to the point where I thought I can't do this anymore, um, and I wanted to go on and do something new. And I think that's quite common, isn't it, for women of a certain age, let's say,
Yes.
or even people of a certain age.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point in your life and you think, I want to try something else.
Mm.
I want to do something else.
Absolutely. I don't want this to be the
Yeah,
thing that defines me for the rest of my life. Yeah. I
absolutely.
was a blah, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, since my diagnosis, um, I've very much been, find the joy. If you're not
Mm.
happy in life, find happiness because that's what it's all about. Why be miserable?
Yeah,
Why
absolutely.
why carry on living a miserable life in the hope that at some point you might be happy?
Yeah.
Do it now. I'm all about
Yeah.
the joy now.
Yeah.
So when you left your career, your job, you say you were made redundant, so it was sort of
Yeah.
foisted on you, or was it
It
a
it was, but I'm now grateful looking back that it
yeah,
happened because it
yeah,
would have been difficult to make the decision to, obviously lose the income and the stability and all those things.
yes,
But I'd
yeah.
kind of hankered after having my own business for quite a long time.
Ah,
Yeah. So I
so
hadn't
so
necessarily envisaged it being what it turned out to be, but
yeah,
I'd had enough of, you know,
yeah,
all of the, you know, the kind of the situation of being within a corporate environment
yeah,
and all the, I mean, there's lovely things that can be there too. I loved having a team. I loved all of that, but
yeah.
lots of other things about it were frustrating,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. So we're all about hope here. So what was the sort of the feelings of hope when all this was happening? Was there hopelessness or was there a bit of um actually no, this is going to be a new chapter? How did that
Yeah,
sort of pan
I think
out?
I went on quite a sort of a dip
Mm,
initially.
right.
Because I was like, because I think it was because things were tricky at home in terms of the time that I needed to give to my children, really above and beyond what you might need to give
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
children because of mental health things that were going on.
Mm,
So I think that the sort of the lack of hope stage is when I thought, actually, is this now going to be it? Is this going to be my life? Am I going to be the person that's at home trying to support two young adults with their problems while they go off and hopefully fly in their lives? But
yeah.
is there going to be a thing for me? But then I sort of it was a bit of a case of putting one foot in front of the other a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I did get to the point when I needed to make a decision as well, because I did have a sort of a consultancy business as well in the tech area, but it was very, very fledgling. It wasn't, I'd only had one contract. So I had a bit of a choice of trying to pursue that, although I wasn't feeling it,
Yeah.
or launch a new business. And there was one really pivotal moment actually, where so my husband, he was working in an area where he happened to get invited to a dinner with the Lord Mayor at the time to thank him for the stuff that he'd been doing related to the City of London.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, I went along to this dinner, didn't really have any particular expectations. I didn't even know who was going to be there. And then when I opened up like the little program thing that we were given with the list of guests, my kind of like jaw went because there was Paul Costello, who's now he's not around anymore actually. He died very recently. Um, there was Philip Treacy, the hat designer, and there was Aura Kiley, who's a sort of a major designer fashion person. And I went like, there's something very interesting about this. The
Yeah.
reason why these guests had been invited is because the Lord Mayor at the time, he had Irish connections. He's Irish, and so all of these people were kind of Irish, of
Ah,
Irish
okay.
extraction.
Yeah.
So that's why they were there. So there I was in this amazing company. I did feel a little bit, well, I started off feeling a little bit, oh my God, about this,
Yeah.
particularly when the first few conversations in the room were all about the situation in Ukraine. And I was like, okay, right, this is
Yeah.
serious stuff. But I started having a chat with the the mayor's consort, his wife, about this and that, and it all went well. And I had some good
Yeah.
chats with these people. But I thought the universe is showing me something here, and it's
Yeah.
showing me that actually I think this fashion thing is for me, and this is the route I want to go
Wonderful.
down to get down. So that was
Wonderful.
a real interesting one actually, that
Yeah.
about the alignment of those stars. And I think from that moment I was like, right, let's commit to this. Let's make this work. And
Yeah.
fingers crossed it will work and it will take off.
Yeah.
And as I went through so it was difficult to go on the training in the first place because my daughter was so unwell, but I did
Yeah.
go on the training and it was a week. It was just massive week. I went in there and by the end of it I had to style a live client. It had to be marked. You had to go off to John Lewis and basically buy outfits for someone who you'd met once and then style them in them. And it was, I'm not, well, I'm relatively kind of okay with going up my comfort zone, but this did push me. I was like, oh my God, this is scary. But having gone through that and got the diploma and done that and achieved that, I was like, yeah, this is now the hope started to, come through that actually this was a
Yeah.
career that was going to work for me and there was going to be something else for me. And I also looked around and thought, well, there's lots of other people doing this. Why not me? And sometimes that comparison thing can be helpful, can't it? You just think,
Yeah.
well, they made a, success of this. So, beat
Absolutely,
me.
absolutely. Do you know, I think, I've talked to lots of people about, education and the education system. We won't talk too much about it, but I think that the one of its main failings is that it teaches children, ultimately adults, that there's one career path. You get your
Mm,
exams, you go to university, you get a degree, you get a job, you stay in that job for 40 years, and then you retire.
yeah.
Um, and there's it doesn't seem to be any sense of you can do whatever you want. There
Mm,
doesn't seem to be an element of that in education. It's all safety, have
yeah.
something to fall back on, have a B plan, and that's sort of what happened to me, really. I sort of did my B plan for 30 years.
Yeah. So what was your B plan, Annie? What did you do?
Well, I was a teacher, I was a primary teacher.
Oh, I
So that's
see.
what I did for 30 years,
Yeah.
and did quite well with it. I was a head
Mm,
teacher at one point,
yeah.
but ultimately it made me unwell. It
Mm,
just wasn't, in the end, it wasn't the job I started doing
yeah.
30 years previously. So yeah, so I looked for the joy as you did.
Mm, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Excellent. So when you started up your business,
Mm,
um, and you had that first client, tell us about that. Tell us, your feelings and your hopes and
yeah. Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that point.
Well, she didn't know she was my first client.
Oh,
I decided not to say, oh, by the way.
yeah,
Obviously, I had quite a few practice clients. It wasn't the first time
yeah,
I'd ever done it. And she was someone who I met through business networking.
yeah.
That has been a thing as well that's really kind of transformed my sort of hope, I would
Oh,
say.
yes,
All
yeah,
of those connections and things. So I met her and she met me and she was like, "Oh my God, I love what you're wearing," and then I
yeah,
started talking about color and that, and she said, "Right, I want to do that. I want to book in for it."
yeah,
And she's a friend now. She's the most lovely person. And I remember going round to her house, and I had a feeling for sort of what season she might be and what might suit her. But I had that fear as well. Am I going to get this right? You know?
yeah,
But it was so
yeah.
lovely because we had a lovely conversation. We worked together. We found the colours that suited her. Um, she sort of has always talked about that experience and said how that has helped her, and it helped her sort of fall in love with her wardrobe again.
Wonderful.
So, that gave me a lot of hope. I thought, right, one down. Okay, this this
Yeah,
this
yeah,
can be done. It
yeah.
does work,
It,
and it
it's the
will bring
whole,
that,
yeah, it's the
joy to other
whole,
people.
I can really do this thing, isn't
Yeah,
it? That,
absolutely. Yeah.
wow, this is really happening. And as
Mm,
you said before, it's you sort of spend some of your life, if you're not fortunate, looking at other people and going, "Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. I could never
yeah,
do that."
yeah,
And it's not until something happens, like, you end a job, or, major life change happens, that you think, actually, why can't I do that?
yeah.
There's nothing stopping me, because, I'm a
Mm,
big believer that anyone can learn anything. So,
yeah,
if there's some passion that you have, you put that energy into that passion, you're going to succeed at it.
yeah.
It's a bit of a no-brainer, really. So this is brilliant. So tell us about, I'm really intrigued about
Mm,
color analysis. I've sort of
yeah.
dipped my very, very small little toe occasionally, but never really committed myself to it. But tell us
Yeah.
about color analysis and color, and how you work, because is it
Okay.
all seasons and cools and
Yes,
warms and things
that's
like that?
right.
Tell
Yeah,
us
yeah,
about
yeah.
that, because I'm
Okay,
intrigued.
absolutely. Okay. So, um, most of us have either some of us can be neutral, but most of us have either a warm skin tone or a
Hmm.
cool skin tone. So
Right.
if you have a warm skin tone, like me, you suit colours which have more of a warm yellow base. If you're cool skin toned, you suit colours that have more of a cool blue base. And the reason this is because our skins have undertones. So what you need to do is you need to match your skin with the correct range of colors. So when you're wearing the correct colors, like the yellow that I'm wearing now,
Yeah.
what it does is it evens out my skin tone. It makes me look more glowy, fine lines and wrinkles all reduced. And it makes your skin look like a better version of yourself, essentially. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make you look completely different color. It actually tones in, suits and complements you. So what I do is I use a series of drapes, which are pieces of fabric, and I put those across the client's chest, so just under their chin, and
Yeah.
I look for the changes that those colors make. And it usually becomes apparent fairly quickly the ones that are really lifting them and harmonizing with them, their appearance, and the ones that are draining them. And the wonderful thing about it as well is that people will say things to me like, I can't wear red, or I can't wear yellow, or green doesn't suit me. But the reason they're saying that is not because that's true for them. It's true, it's because they haven't found the correct shade of that
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
will leave the session with a lovely color palette, which they will then be able to use when they're shopping. They'll be able to go and take it into the shops and select colors that suit them. Um,
Yeah.
and they will also learn as well how to put color together and how to harmonize color within their overall appearance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously, you know, you can still wear makeup, you can still do all
'Cause
these other things, but you've got an immediate lift by wearing those colors that complement you.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant because I remember chatting to you before and you saying it's not that you can't wear a color, it's finding the right shade of that
Yeah,
color. That's the thing because you can have, warm and cold or cool
yeah,
shades of the same color, can't you?
yeah,
Brilliant.
absolutely. Yeah, that's quite right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just amazing. And
Mm.
is it just cool and warm or does the seasons, how do the seasons come into it?
Yeah.
You work with the
So
seasons as well.
the cool seasons are summer and winter. But the difference between those two is that the winter shades are more vibrant and deeper.
Right.
And the summer shades are also cool, but they're soft and muted. So if you envisage winter as those really jewel colors, you know,
Right.
think about Christmas, but think about the jewel colors, the burgundies and the pine greens and those sorts of colors. And think about white and black. So your winters actually look good in black. It's the only season it really does. For everyone else, it's a bit much as a color.
Yeah.
Stark white as well, they look amazing in because their skin can take that high contrast. Whereas if you have a slightly more delicate, softer complexion but cool, you suit summer shades, and those summer shades are softer and more gentle. For example, summers tend to look really, really lovely in cool pastels,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
And then the warm seasons, so the kind of summer, when you think about summer, the summer season in your mind, what you're thinking of is your New England hazy summer or your British seaside. What you're not thinking of is, you know, the tropics or the south of France or that bright, vibrant color. You're
Mm.
thinking of that soft, muted, or
Mm.
sort of pastel, that sort of dusting, sprinkling. So if you're
Pink
thinking about
rose.
cakes, it would be
Yeah.
your sort of frosty icing, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the two warm seasons are spring and autumn. And spring, the colours are very vibrant, bright, and clear. So if you imagine looking at a field of tulips or spring flowers and imagine that very bright spring green, that really vibrant red, a really sort of hot pink, and those kinds of really sort of new, the newness of spring. And those colours, that is how that season's encapsulated. So your skin again needs to have a certain vibrancy that will set off well with those colours. Whereas
Brilliant.
autumn is the one that looks probably most like the recognizable season. So what you suit are the earth tones. So
Mm.
those beautiful russets, mossy greens, burnt orange. The blue is a very kind of muted, but rich blue. It's called, for example, there's a marine blue, which is the kind of thing you'd see on navy uniforms.
Yeah.
So, so those people suit those earthy tones and they complement their skin tone. Because what happens with the bright colours is that many of the autumns can wear them, but they kind of like wear them, if that makes sense. So they're
Yes.
too bright and too vibrant. So it's very much about looking as well at, you know, how whether the client can carry off those bolder colours or whether they need the softer, more muted colours. So that's part of the process as well.
It's just fascinating.
Mm.
It's fascinating. So when you work with your clients, it must be so fabulous to find the right colors for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you must get some lovely reactions, sort of, oh wow, and I didn't realize, and I
Yeah,
would never
yeah.
wear that color, but I'm wearing it all the time now, kind of
Yeah,
things. Does that happen a
absolutely.
lot?
Yeah. And some people as well, they will come up to me and they'll say, "Look, I've got the color on." I go, "Okay, that's great." Happens a lot actually with one person who I did a
Yeah.
color analysis for. She owns a business network and she's just a fabulous person. And I think she'd had color consultancy before, but nothing, and sort of maybe styling, but nothing I don't think had stuck exactly. But now she's like, "I've got the jacket on, Catherine." And she has, she thought she was cool. I think she was wearing a lot of pastels and things and sort of
Mm.
cool tone. But now she says, "Oh, I look so good in cream. I look good in a really bright turquoise." And she really does. And that's just fantastic. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Now, I'm intrigued. When you go out shopping and
Hmm.
you see someone in a shop, perhaps trying something on, perhaps someone you don't know, are you
Yeah.
ever tempted to go, "Oh, try this one," or "Look at
Yeah,
this
I
one,"
am a
or
bit.
can you not do it that
Yeah.
quickly?
I am a little bit, particularly, I mean, obviously that can be things like when I can see that someone's gonna pick up a black sack, shall we say,
Yeah.
as well. And you're not feeling great, but you've seen a black sort of
Yeah.
loosey thing, so you just put it
Mm.
on, you know. And I
Yeah.
totally understand why people do that. It's completely understandable. But I have occasionally got involved in conversations. I think it was in Primark or somewhere, and there was a lady trying to decide between some shoes. So I did actually get pulled into that. Or if
Yeah.
someone is umming and ahhing a bit, I will
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, that's fabulous on you," or whatever. So yes, I do get tempted, but I have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, you have to be
You can
quite
imagine.
diplomatic,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah. Mm.
But it must be quite liberating. I must come and do mine with you because
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
absolutely.
must
Yeah.
be quite liberating, mustn't it, for someone who's pretty, and is it mainly women you work with? Do you work with men too?
I do. I work with a lot more women, but I do work with some men as well,
With some
actually.
men, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've
But
got
it's
one.
usually,
They sort of have different reasons for coming. I've had
yeah.
one actually who it's been really about their business and trying to just look a bit more coordinated and elevated
Okay.
and all that lot.
Yeah.
Um, and then another one who's been through a divorce and who's kind of in a reinvention stage of his life.
Yeah.
So, and he's wanting to just, yeah, basically, he's got about 75 similar things in his wardrobe, and he wants to, find a style
I'm
for
a bit
himself
like
in the
that
same way that
though.
women do.
Yeah.
He wants to go out there not looking, like try too hard, but
Yeah.
he wants to at the same time have a sort of a clearer image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do. I mean, I sort of, when you grow up, you become an adult and you make a sort of decision. It's sort of the same with food. When you try something you don't like it, you think, well, I don't like that, and it becomes
Yeah.
a normal, doesn't it?
Hmm.
So, I've generally through my adult life thought, well, I won't wear green. I don't wear green. Green isn't my color. And then when I set up my baking business, a friend of mine did the logo, and he did it as a bright green. I don't know if you can see it at the top there, that the mask,
Oh
that
yes, I
green,
can. Yes.
green up
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought, oh, green's not usually my color, but I'll go with it. So everything in my business at that point became that green color. So much so that when I had a photo shoot, I made a dress in that green
You made
color.
the dress.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, because I sew.
Oh,
So I
do
was able
you?
to make it.
Wow.
Um, and it was a photo shoot that and I wore this dress, and it was a sort of a Jane Austen style dress, long dress, because it was wedding cakes, and I wanted it to all be elegant and
Yeah.
hair up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the green actually really worked. So
Oh.
since then, I've not shied away from it.
Mm.
But we are guilty of that, aren't we, as women? Oh, I don't wear brown, or oh, I don't wear this color, or I don't wear red, as
Yeah,
you said
yeah. And
earlier.
sometimes it's about for some people it's about not wanting to draw attention to themselves.
Yes, I can imagine it is,
Yeah.
particularly with the red and the
Yeah,
bright colors
yeah,
and things like that.
yeah,
It's oh, I'll just wear black and brown and hide, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. There's definitely a little bit of that going on, and but
Yeah,
people do get over that, which is so lovely.
yeah. So I suppose in a way your work isn't just dealing with the clothes, it's dealing with the confidence and the mindset as well, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, part of the process is always quite a long talk about their kind of where they've been with their style, where they'd like to go with it. Things like, so how would someone else describe your style at the moment? How
yeah.
would you like them to describe it? All those sorts of questions, so they can
Yeah.
start to actually go, yeah. And it's nice for people as well because, you know, it's a bit like I always compare it a little bit to something like, buying a house and doing it up. That,
Mm.
you might do all that yourself, but chances are you might get an architect or you might get an interior designer, and that's
Yeah.
normal. Whereas for
Yeah.
clothing, it's not. We're expected to just work it all out for ourselves. It's actually quite hard,
Yeah.
you know. There's a
Yeah.
lot that you can learn. There's a lot of tips and tricks that I can give people about how to style themselves and how to find their colors. That once they know it, it's like, oh, great, I
Yeah.
know that now.
Yeah.
And you will find people that, they just need an hour and a half. They're like, like, wow, I know how to do this. Other people need more support and work with me for longer
Yeah.
and get to that point. But, it's a whole set of skills, and we come with a lot of inherited preconceptions as well, as you say, about
Yeah.
what colors suit us.
Yeah.
People also may have said stuff to us in the past that's been less than kind about our appearance or our figures, or just pointed comments that people may make, can be women or men. Like someone
Mm.
might comment on the shape of your forehead or something, and you will live with that your whole life, and it will
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
So
It's so
it's
true.
bringing out those kinds of, um, I guess, fears and preconceptions about themselves and how they can look,
Yeah.
and then turning those on their head a little bit and saying, actually, yeah. So you want to be a rock chick? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how old you are. We'll fight. We can make that look work for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Oh, it must be so
Or whatever it is.
satisfying, the work that you
Yeah,
do. It
it
really
is.
must.
It is.
Really just fabulous. So, oh gosh, look at the time. So we will need to come to an end shortly. But what's next for you? What are you hoping that you'll be achieving next, Catherine?
Yeah, so at the moment, I've got a couple of things I'd like to do. I'd like to turn sort of, my life experience and all of this lot into a book. I'd love to do
Oh,
that. I'm not going to say that's going to happen this year, but it has been planned in a sense. I've had been thinking about that.
yeah,
That would be lovely because I don't think there's anything out there quite like this at the moment.
yeah,
So it would be really nice to have a book focusing on midlife style, midlife reinvention, how
mm,
color and style can support that, um, and how we can almost take back our space, I think, as midlife women,
yeah,
in the way that we are setting up fabulous businesses and doing all these other things, we can also, that can also be, our personal brand that we can evolve and go out there with,
yeah.
to a different level of confidence. And then I'm also thinking about maybe if I can run a group program, that would be really lovely to do.
Ah,
So be able to take, because at the moment it's a little bit easier to work with people who live nearer, but
mm,
there's amazing things that you can do online. And I'd love
mm,
to take people through a process together where they would end up, as a cohort, being able to, share some of the transformations with each other that they've gone through, particularly if it's got a little bit of a business focus. So, for
yeah,
example, maybe focusing on people who want to do more speaking on stage or whatever
mm,
whatever sort of visibility they want
yeah.
to have styling behind them, as,
That
as
sounds
part of that.
brilliant.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so that'd be
brilliant.
lovely. I'm sort of, I'm kind of setting, trying to progress that. I'd love to launch that this year again.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, and I just remember the one thing that I haven't talked to you about is
yeah,
something that really does intrigue me. When we talked before, you talk about sort of sustainable fashion, and
yeah,
a lot of the work that you do involves working in charity shops and sourcing things from
yeah.
there. So it sort of comes away from that thought that a personal stylist automatically is Gucci and Chanel.
Absolutely, yeah, 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 yeah,
Tell me a bit more about that because
yeah.
this is really
That's right,
interesting.
because people assume that, if you're going to a personal stylist, it means you're a really bougie person.
Yeah.
And what you really want to do is, as you say, is to find the latest Gucci or whatever it is.
Mm.
But I haven't worked with anyone who wants that. And in fact,
Yeah.
there are people whose job is to do specialist handbag sourcing. I don't do that.
Yeah.
So my job is very much about helping people find that style identity and then working with them to consider, yeah, the best ways of making that happen. And often that isn't on the UK high street, to be honest. Because, for example, so I would say over 50% of my own wardrobe is from charity shops. What I'm wearing now is a charity shop blouse, and it's a very
Wow.
vibrant yellow. Obviously, you can't see it,
Gorgeous. No.
but very similar to sort of the sunflower in the,
Mm.
Chronicles of Hope. And I found that in a charity shop. And the reason I did that is because if you go into the high street shops, if you go in at the moment, I walked into, I looked into Zara yesterday. Everything is neutrals.
Mm.
It's cool, and it
It
tends
is,
to
isn't
be,
it? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and often cool tone neutrals. And to be honest, I would say there's probably warm tone skin tone is probably a little bit more common than cool skin tone.
Yeah.
So actually, there are lots of people walking around in colours that are actually quite draining for them.
Mm.
But in charity shops, you can get a real rainbow of colours all year round,
Yeah.
and you're giving something back,
Yeah,
at the same time. That's why I love it, because it's a very, 'cause I feel a bit, sometimes I feel a bit kind of when I bought something from H&M or Zara or wherever it is, because I just know how it's been produced and I don't feel great.
yeah,
I still do buy from the high street. But I feel much better about vintage and I feel much better about charity shops. And if you've got a little bit of know-how, and I'm hopefully got an article coming out in Metro soon where I talk about some of these tips and tricks. But
yeah,
if you know kind of how to shop in charity shops and you know what to look for, then you can actually, you can wear charity shop all the time, to be honest. You don't need to go
yeah,
anywhere else. You don't need to
yeah,
go to the high street. Um, and you may, find that you need to go to a few different areas. It's not that you're going to walk in and go, wow, I've got a whole outfit straight away.
yeah. Needs a bit of
Although
work.
I could probably find one. I could
Yeah,
probably find someone one, but it's a
yeah,
little bit of serendipity. But when you go to the high street, it's the same thing. You might go and come up with nothing. So,
yeah.
you know,
Well, I find the high street now is very much of a muchness, and as you say, they sort of they produce something in a color, and everything seems to be of that same color.
yeah.
And you're right, there is lots of sort of neutrals. I was looking for things a while back, colorful. I think it was something for Christmas, and I wanted something
Mm.
colorful, and it all seemed to either be black or bright red or neutral
Yeah.
tones. I think,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly. There tends to be a
amazing.
signature color that's
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Um, and bright red has been around for a while actually. Before that, orange did make an appearance. Last year it was something called butter yellow, but it was a very pale yellow.
yeah.
Um, and then the Pantone color of the year. So the
Oh,
Pantone Institute sets the color of the year, which is kind of in the zeitgeist. This year, it's called Cloud Dancer, which is basically white.
it's white, yeah. I saw a
Mm.
hoo-ha about it on socials. People going, "What are you talking about, Pantone?" So, what's your
Ah.
opinion on that choice? Do you think
Well,
it's
I think so. Making the positive of it, the lovely thing about it is obviously it's very blank canvas, and you can kind of associate it with renewal as well.
right?
But
Interesting.
it's a tricky color for anyone with a warm skin tone because it will be quite draining.
Yeah,
So I probably won't be doing too much of Cloud Dancer, but if I for my cooler season people, then definitely it's definitely something that you can wear.
yeah,
Um, obviously a white dress or an ivory dress, I would say, in this case is going to look lovely in summer. So it has its place.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're supposed to like sample the zeitgeist to come up with this. I don't know quite how that
yeah,
happens.
yeah. I was quite because in previous years I've kept an eye on the Pantone color because of the wedding cakes and
Oh, of
um,
course. Yeah.
and wedding cake
Mm.
design and things like that. And this year I just sort of happened upon it. Um, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. But people were getting really quite annoyed about it.
Oh, were they?
Oh, it's only a colour,
Oh.
love.
Well, it's only for 12 months, so
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
don't have to follow it. Actually, if you go on to London College of Style on their blog, I've written a blog post about
Oh,
the
wow.
Cloud Dancer.
Oh, wow.
So if
I will
anyone
put that
is
in
interested who happens to be watching, then you could have a
we'll
read of
put that
that.
in the show notes. Give me the link and we'll put that
I
in the
will
show
do.
notes for
Yeah.
people to read. Now,
Mm.
we are coming to the end now. I know I said it before, but I wanted
Yeah.
to carry on talking to you. But I always ask my guests whether they have a message of hope for my
Yeah.
listeners. So, what might your message of hope be, Catherine?
So my message of hope would be when you're in the darkest possible place, and I would associate that almost with I don't know, the winter solstice,
Mm,
the light always comes back. There's always change, there's always transformation. Everything is impermanent.
yeah,
So in your darkest days, always remember that there is always change and there was always the capacity for change. And
brilliant.
that's definitely what hope would mean to me.
Yeah, that's so, so true. It's so true because when you're in the depths of sort of hopelessness and despair, it feels like that's all it's ever going to be, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But that's so true. The sun comes out and things change and things do get better, don't they?
they do.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much for
Oh,
chatting with
thank
me today. It's
you.
been fascinating. Now, if people are interested in what you do, Catherine, how can they get hold of you? We will put links in the show notes, but tell us how we can get hold of you.
Yeah. So my website is whatimwearing.com and all my details are on there. So you can phone me, you can email me. All my contact details are very much available. You can message me on Instagram if you follow me. So yeah, I'm very easy to get hold of.
Wonderful. I
And
would
you can,
say
and also you can. So if you're in a position where you're just thinking I'm feeling not feeling great about my style or I'm interested in color, then we can just have a chat. I do a 40-minute consultation. I love talking to people about style, so my time is never wasted, whether or not you want to put my services in future. I love chatting to people. So
Oh, lovely.
you reach out for that, we can set that up and we can have a chat and go from there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Because there's something to be said about, feeling good. When you go out feeling like you're looking good, it's a real boast, isn't it?
It is, and also feeling like you're feeling like it's right for you as well, feeling like yourself. We've all gone out, haven't we, in that dress or suit or whatever it is, and we just don't think, oh, this isn't
Yeah.
really me.
Yeah,
I
because
ended up
someone
wearing
else
it
was
anyway.
wearing it and looked good, and you
Yeah,
think, oh, I'll
yeah.
wear it too. But
So
yeah, being ourselves.
it's that sense of our own identity and feeling comfortable as well.
So true. Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank
with
you,
me
Annie.
today,
Thank you for
Catherine.
inviting me. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been a really lovely chat, and I'm sure we will speak soon. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining me. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. I hope you've found inspiration, comfort, or perhaps even a newfound perspective around the meaning of hope. To find out more about the aims of the Chronicles of Hope organisation, please visit thechroniclesofhope.org, where you will find links to our social media accounts and where you will be able to make a much needed and appreciated donation. Thank you.